Everybody out there listening, make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button too. We're going to be talking about what's going on with Diddy. They making everybody wait, but he already know what's going on. People in the court already know what's going on. They got to stretch this thing out so everybody can get paid. But it's looking like Diddy ain't coming home no time soon. But don't feel bad about Diddy doing some time. We all been doing some time, entertaining this BS. We've been locked up for like 3 years, worried about what's going on with Diddy. So when he starts serving his time, that means we can stop serving our time, being concerned with this madness. So I know y'all excited for that. They treating this like this a holiday or something. They're making it seem like Christmas. They don't want us to unwrap the Diddy presents until tomorrow. And they might stretch it till next week. They might stretch it to next month because they waiting on that Drake UMG trial to be starting. Diddy thought he was going to come home today. They said he came in the courtroom with Beijing in the perm and a bad boy jersey. He thought he was going to walk up out of there, but it's looking like he got some bad news. Now, this the crazy part that we're going to be talking about on this live stream. They waited until the end of the trial to let us know that the jury got special needs. Allegedly, they came to court today with tennis rackets because they was deliberating on what racketeering was. They was better off having Serena Williams in the jury. These people don't know nothing about the law. They don't know what the hell a freak off is, even though they play videos and all this shit. This jury is dumbfounded, and that's why we at where we at today, man. The jury has reached a verdict in 4 of 5 counts in Combs' federal criminal trial. Here's what you should know. They already reached a verdict, but they not trying to let the public know what the verdict is. But the way Diddy waved to his family today and the emotion they all felt, it's looking like he may never see the light of day again. Y'all got to listen at this.
We have a verdict. We have a verdict from the jury. In the Shawn Diddy Combs trial, we're told they sent a note just a few moments ago that the jury has reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are unable to reach a verdict on count 1 as we have jurors with unpersuadable opinions on both sides. Now, to break that down, count 1 is RICO, the most complex charge here that could come with up to life in prison. The remaining charges include 2 counts of sex trafficking, 1 for each victim, Cassie Ventura and a pseudonym named Jane, and the last 2 in terms of translation into the form of prostitution. So we now know that on the RICO charge, it appears that the jury presently is hung. We do not yet know what the verdict is in the remaining counts, but suffice to say, over the last 7 weeks, the prosecution has been trying to persuade a jury of now 12 people with the alternates out that Shawn Diddy Combs should serve the rest of his life in prison based on 5 felony counts. Now, the jurors are not to consider in any way, shape, or form the potential sentence, but this is huge. We are now the 2nd day of deliberations. It has been a little more than, 10, 12 hours of deliberation, including notes, lunch breaks, and an overnight deliberative process. And here we have right now all these notes in between. We are waiting for the verdict, but also the judge to make a decision on count 1 and whether they should continue to deliberate, given called with the Allen charge, meaning go back and deliberate until you are most assuredly and precisely and finally hung. But according to these jurors, count 1, the RICO charge appears to be the one where they do not have unanimity among the 12.
Yeah, Laura, let me, thank you so much. This is huge breaking news here that this verdict is beginning to come in. And of course, I say beginning because as you've outlined, the major charge, charge 1, you say they are essentially hung. Can you explain a little bit more about, just for those of us who don't do what you do every single day, I'm familiar with a hung jury, but you seem to be saying that the judge has some options.
They all packing meats. That's what it mean. They got a bunch of BBCs sitting on the jury, man. They all hung, waiting for Cassie to drop that load. And she had her baby too. And she ain't been doing no blogs or nothing like that, because Cassie know if she get out there, they're going to chew her ass up. People going to say how they really feel. If Cassie starts speaking, then people going to have more of an opinion about her, regardless of what she talking about. People going to judge her harshly based off of this stuff that was brought to the court. So that's why everybody hush hush, except for the Punisher. He got his 15 minutes of fame or whatever the case is, but everybody else is hush hush because they know they could be under heavy scrutiny due to the testimonies that they put out there against Diddy. It's looking to me that the jury has decided that Diddy is not guilty on a whole lot of shit, but they have to find him guilty on something. They got a lot of pressure on them to find this man guilty. You thinking Diddy intimidating them? I'm pretty sure they being intimidated by other factors that ain't got nothing to do with Diddy. If it was up to the jury, they'd be like he's innocent. But they can't get off that easy because there's people with interest in seeing him in jail. Because once he go to jail, that bad boy catalog or whatever else, whatever residuals he owed or the money he accumulated over the years, they already counting his money. So it's sad to see that it's going in this direction. And the reason why they stringing people along for this and making people hold on to this is because they want to pacify people with the holidays, because they know once a nigga get the itis, people ain't going to give a fuck what happened. When the 4th get here, and Diddy in jail, and you get done with that potato salad and baked beans, you ain't going to give a fuck what happened. You're going to be too busy rubbing your belly with a toothpick in your mouth to go down there rioting for Diddy or whatever the case is. So that's the main reason why they're making this stretch.
Here, and that this may not be the end of the story. Can you just explain that a little more precisely?
If you want to get your name, phone number, and address off the internet, but want to handle the removals yourself.
Of course, when you have a federal jury or you have a jury, you want to have a unanimous opinion and decision about guilty or not guilty. And we do not yet know what that is. But jurors can sometimes say, we've reached an impasse. We haven't made up our minds. We are essentially stalled on this particular charge. And the judge may say, have you done all that you can to ensure that you have considered all the elements, that you've weighed all of the considerations, that everyone has reached their final conclusion? At that point, which is called an Allen charge, the jury might say, you know what, Your Honor, we haven't actually thought of that. We can give it one more try. Or they might very well say, Your Honor, we're coming to you about the rest of them because this is the one that we are hopelessly deadlocked on. No additional time is necessary or will yield any alternate conclusion of unanimity or a decision. So now the judge has to deal with that. If that's the case, if this jury says that we are officially hung on one charge and we have a verdict on the rest, well, the prosecution, who has the burden of proof and will always have a burden of proof in a trial, as they should, will have a discussion among themselves. Do they insist that they go back again and deliberate, or do they learn the verdict on the rest of the remaining charges? Right now, we do not know, but we're told from Kara Scannell, who has been inside of this courtroom, that the tension is thick, that the lawyers were surrounding Shawn Diddy Combs.
This where they screwed Diddy at. All of the people on the jury that had some sense, they had a scientist, a certified scientist, a man that could put together atoms, and they had Dr. Strange on the damn jury, and he got dismissed. These people don't know what the fuck going on. They got a bunch of idiots on the jury. They don't know the law. They don't know if he guilty or not. They sending notes back and forth to the judge trying to get his recommendation because they ain't never dealt with no shit like this before. They don't know if it's illegal to have sex in different states. They making plans to go out of town. They probably just came back in town before the trial started having sex. That's their grown-ass business. Combs whispers to his children and tells his mother, I'll be all right, love you. That's because he know he ain't getting out that bitch. He waved at them, said, all right, y'all, I'm going to be all right. Don't cry for me. It wasn't no I'm coming home or see you soon or we gonna be back together. No. He said, I'll be all right. He gonna have to hold his own in there because ain't no way they let him walk. The public at this point been so brainwashed to where, ain't no sympathy coming from there. But what I'm more concerned about is the law. It seems like they make laws as they go along. They can persuade a law, or they could bend the law the same way they can bend the truth. So it's not looking good for your boy Diddy right now. Look, no, go back to the other one. Okay, y'all listen to this.
Collapsed in his lap. Remember, his family has been here, his mother here today. Just earlier today, Kara even overheard Shawn Diddy Combs saying to his mother, just relax, it's going to be all right. Well, now we're waiting to see what that verdict will be and whether the judge will have the jurors go back and try to deliberate further on that charge. I want to bring in, I see Elizabeth Wagmeister who's here, and we have, of course, been covering this trial, and this is stunning to think that there is now some semblance of a verdict. I was telling Casey, we don't know about count one. That's the most serious one.
It is the most serious one, and I have an update for you from our colleagues inside the courtroom right now, Laura. So, Casey, I want to update you live right now. Both sides want the judge to push the jury to continue deliberating. Combs' defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said that the defense would like the judge to bring out the jury to instruct them to continue deliberating rather than to send them a note. Both sides agree that they would like this instruction. They want the jury to continue deliberating. So, as Laura said,
they constipated, man. They trying to get them laxatives and shit. The jury can't shit. They don't know how to. They need somebody to hold their hand because all of this information, this stuff been thrown at them, these parties and stuff. But the thing about it is the jury was enjoying watching the tapes. It was softcore porn. It was Cinemax. And they trying to give him life in jail because he's an old man that paid younger men to please his woman because he working with a Tootsie Roll. And he's starting a whole new trend in America. It's a bunch of men out there that realize that they don't have what it takes to get the job done, but they got the money to pay somebody to handle that business to keep their wife happy. Like they say, a happy wife, a happy life. So they willing to go out there with their wives, pick a mate, shake the man's hand or whatever the case is, turn on some Kenny G, sit there and watch his wife get pleasured by some. And before you know it, that meat might get rocked up again. He might decide he want to give it a go. He might want to do a test round or whatever the case is. He probably see the flaws in that young man's game. You might see his old ass popping underneath them sheets before you know. Diddy started a whole new trend in America, man, and people thanking him for putting their love lives back on track. People never knew of a hotel night. People need that shit. There's people out there ain't seen a hotel in 20, 30 years. The Holiday Inn is booked because of Diddy. You got people trying different stuff. The divorce rate is through the roof. Diddy is helping with all of that. So the jury, they sitting during this trial, and they going home and trying this shit with their spouses or whatever the case is. Diddy done spiced up their sex lives. Now they feel guilty for getting it in. They feel guilty for having pleasures or whatever the case is. So if he go to jail, and which he is, it's going to be a lot of changes out here. All you Insta models, you big booty women that went down to get the work done and all that type of stuff, y'all gonna be suspect. People gonna want to know where you got all that you have. You're gonna have to prove your line of work. When you get to the airport, they're gonna ask you business or pleasure. And regardless of what you say, your ass could be locked up for that. That's where we at with it. So this is a situation, it's gonna change the face of America. When he goes to jail, everybody gonna be suspect for sexual activities out here.
Today,
I'm gonna go back.
this is up to the judge's discretion. Yeah. Does he say continue and reach a verdict on count one, or okay, we can be hung on this, but both sides have the same agreement that they want them to continue?
Yeah, no, really interesting. So Laura and Elizabeth, please weigh in here as well. But Laura, can you kind of run down, if we have verdicts in the other counts?
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6
Y'all hold on one second.
GPA.
I got this. 90. Don't y'all worry about it.
How do you compare the potential implications of a sentence in those counts compared to count one? Like, how much more serious or significant is count one compared to the other charges?
Great question. Count one is by far the most serious. RICO carries up to life in prison with sometimes mandatory minimums. It's a very serious charge. Now, the verdict form required this jury to find either guilty or not guilty on that high charge. And if they found that, they had to go down the line for so-called predicate crimes. That's a fancy way of saying, well, did the government prove or not prove bribery, kidnapping, arson? The idea of this went down the line of other things, including drug distribution and even prostitution. Then there was a second part that talked about, did you conclude that there was sex trafficking proven with respect to Cassie or Jane? Now, why that's important here is because for each of those different types of crimes, the jury was asked whether the government...
Let me show y'all something real quick. And y'all got to feel me on this. I promise it ain't going to take that much time. But y'all got to try to relate to what I'm trying to say here. Okay, answer this question for me. Y'all think they gonna let the ladies get a leg up on this one? Because if Diddy go to jail, it's gonna be similar to Kamala Harris winning the presidency. Even though she did a lot of foul shit that people could talk about for years to come, people still wanted to see her win the presidency. She had way more credentials than old boy had. There was people out there trying to get her in office. Same thing with Cassie. Even though Cassie did some wild shit, people still voting for Diddy to go down and Cassie to walk away with the bag and Diddy suffer. It's like Trump and Kamala. What y'all think, man? If Diddy go down, it's going to give the ladies a heads up. Because if you look at this news coverage, man, ain't nothing but women's on there speaking on this, and they doing it for the girls. And where we at in America? Now, if Obama was in office, it's a possibility that, you know, we live in some different times. That's all I'm trying to say. So politics do play a major role in this. And the reason why I'm even concerned about it is because they're making people wait, even though the jury done decided on what they going to do. They already found them guilty or not guilty on some charges, but they don't want the public to know as of yet. So they trying to make it a shocker. They trying to make it to where people have a reaction to this shit, man. So, but like I said, with Diddy's behavior in the courtroom and how he interacting with his mother and with his kids and stuff, it's looking like he done. It ain't going to be no coming home for Diddy. And that's going to be a big win for the ladies out there. But, you know, only time will tell for sure. It's a lot of stuff that got it looking like they going to lay the hammer on him heavy. But the crazy part about it is, if they do give him life or if he have to do some time, they're going to have to explain exactly why. And that's going to be a hard explanation to make to why he got to serve some time for doing any of the stuff that he's accused of doing when they don't have no actual proof of none of that stuff. So I don't know how they're going to sweep it under the rug. If they don't want to do all that explaining, if they want to be logical about this, they will let him out. But, you know, we just got to wait and see. I want to look at this real quick because this explains a little bit more of what I'm trying to figure out. So let's look at this real fast.
Today in the Shawn Diddy Combs trial, the jury reaching a partial verdict in the music mogul's federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial. The jurors sent a note to the judge saying they'd reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts, but were unable to agree on 1 charge. But jurors will continue deliberating tomorrow.
Wait. If they've reached a verdict on 4, that should be enough to say that he's going to jail. It's over. He done. And we'll get to the last charge tomorrow. But hey, everybody, we reached a decision. Count 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. He's definitely going to be doing some time. And we'll get back with y'all about the last one. But yeah, it's it for Diddy. So by them not telling us, it looked like they decided that he's not guilty on those charges, and they trying to figure out the last charge. But either way, they playing games with this thing.
So here is a breakdown of the charges he's facing. The jury hasn't reached a verdict yet on 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, but they have reached 1 on the other 4 charges. That includes 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation for purposes of prostitution. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman has been following this trial for the network throughout its ups and its downs. And here she is with the latest as the jury deliberations are set to pick up tomorrow.
The jury in Shawn Combs' trial says they have reached a verdict on 4 of the counts, that is 2, 3, 4, and 5, but that they are unable to come to a consensus on count 1, and that there are jurors on both sides who are unpersuadable. The judge ultimately decided, after speaking with the parties, to have the jury continue deliberating. He read them an instruction from his original jury charge about their duty to deliberate. Now, when we got the note about this, Shawn Combs was sitting. His lawyers were all huddled around him in the courtroom. Combs was very still, very somber through all of this. And it's hard to describe how ominous the atmosphere was. It had started raining outside, and there was thunder multiple times as we waited to see what was going to happen in there. But now we know that the jury has made a decision on most of the counts in this trial, but count 1 is the biggest and the most complicated. That is racketeering conspiracy. It carries the weight potentially of up to life in prison for Shawn Combs. His family also filtered in as we were waiting into the courtroom. His mother was in there. His daughters came in. His sons. As he left the courtroom, he told them all that he loved them and he left for the day. Katrina Kaufman, CBS News, New York.
She looks sad about it, man. Everybody looks sad about it. She looked like she rather depressed about it. She know there's some sinister stuff going on in that courtroom. She fighting back her tears. It's raining, the wind blowing all hard. This ain't looking too good, y'all. It's not looking too good at all. Because like I said, it's definitely going to change some laws. If he go down, they're going to have to start holding women accountable. So all the social media madness that's happening, it's going to be a new day. You just ain't going to be able to get away with having multiple dudes paying your bills. You're going to have to explain what you're doing for these men. People be so quick to say, oh, they paying my bills just because they paying my bills. I ain't never touched that man. I ain't never did nothing with him. He just paid my bills. That's just because that's what he want to do. It's people that will argue up and down and make it seem like they ain't giving services for the money that they getting from these men. But all that shit is illegal now. And they going to comb through it with a fine-tooth comb to figure out what you really got going on. But then again, they may never hold women accountable, and the tricks is going to be the ones that do the time. Even though that's like somebody selling dope, and the person that's buying the dope going to jail for smoking the dope, but the dope dealer get to go free and sell some more dope. That's what's happening. Cassie's box was like dope. She was selling it to Diddy, the Jane Doe. They was all selling their goods to Diddy. He was smoking it up. He even named one of the chicks Crack Pipe. He said, your nickname is Crack Pipe because I'm addicted to your sex. And she was peddling it to Diddy. but he about to do life in jail for buying their services, because that's all they really had to offer to him. So for you men out there that's willing to pay to play, you doing the crime. And when they lock your ass up, she gonna find somebody else and do the same thing. So it's really dangerous for men out here now. Very dangerous. And if y'all dudes out there listening, y'all got a brain, it's time to stop all that tricking. Ice Cube said it ain't tricking if you got it. But even if you do got it and you tricking, you doing something that's illegal. The chicks you taking care of, you helping with the phone bill, you helping her with her kids or whatever the case is, your ass living like Pablo Escobar, don't even know it. They hit your ass with a RICO for supporting a bitch. Especially if she giving you them cheeks. That's where we at with it. Hold on. Okay, listen.
Joining me now, lawyer and legal analyst Eric Guster. Eric, thanks so much for being here. Okay, let's talk. The jury remains deadlocked on the most serious charge. Jurors are actually reportedly saying that there were unpersuadable opinions on both sides. So let's talk about what happens now. Do they continue to deliberate tomorrow morning, first thing?
Both sides, the defense and the prosecution, wanted them to continue to deliberate. Nobody wants to try a case twice. So they want them to come back and deliberate. However, the jurors said that there are people on both sides who will not move. So it could end up with a split verdict where they come up with 4 counts of guilty or not guilty and 1 where they're hung.
We always look at the clock and how long a jury's been deliberating. So they spent over 10 hours deliberating since Monday before submitting this partial decision. What do you make of that time frame? Is that fairly quick?
Jury decisions are very tough. I generally believe that a fast verdict is a guilty verdict in a criminal case. Racketeering is the most serious case because you have to prove that there was this big mass conspiracy where you had people doing different criminal things and criminal acts, which I'm not sure that the prosecution did a very good job of that. I expected them to bring in people who would say they blew up the car of the rapper and they did other things on his behalf, and they may not have brought all of that evidence that they needed to prove that point. But the other 4, they have a verdict, and it's going to be interesting to see what the judge does.
Okay, deliberations continue, but if, and I say if, the jury remains hung on the racketeering charge, could the judge consider a mistrial on that count or accept a partial verdict and proceed to sentencing on the 4 resolved counts?
The judge can do a partial verdict where he can receive the verdict for 4 counts, and if Shawn Diddy Combs is found guilty of any of those, then proceed to sentencing. Or give the prosecution the decision, say, hey, do you want to retry this case, or do you want him to be sentenced on the other 4 remaining counts? Because they would really reserve sentencing for whether or not the prosecution wants to retry the second case, which he would not get out on bond, perhaps, waiting on an appeal or sentencing on those.
And before we go, we have 2 days before court's out because of July 4th. So if you look at a time...
Bullshit, man. They got to rush it for the holidays. So this just the in between time before they have bigger fish to fry, literally. That ain't right. You talking about this man's life. It's entertainment. They make it seem like it's the Super Bowl or the Diddy playoffs and shit. They got to go for the finals. We waiting to see who gonna win the finals in the Diddy trial. That's what it boils down to. The score is fucking 3-3. We about to go into game 7. This more entertaining than the damn Pacers versus OKC. It ain't right, man. They holding off on they make it seem like it's the mega ball or something. We gotta wait for the numbers to hit to see who won and who lost. It's unreal what they doing with this whole case. But like I said, it's looking like Diddy is down for the count based off of how he interacting with his family. It's one thing to blow kisses and all that stuff if he was excited, but when he told his mama, I'll be all right, that let a lot of people know that he gonna have to protect his ass, protect his neck, I hope he got some Wu-Tang in his playlist, cause he gonna need all that gully shit. He gonna have to hit that gym and take care of himself, cause this ain't looking too good. Shawn Diddy Combs whispered to his 6 adult children seated in the second row behind him before leaving the courtroom. He also leaned over again to his mother, who asked him a few questions. He told her, "I'll be all right, love you," and tapped his chest. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Like, is you lifting weights in there, son? Do you need me to send you some protein or something? You need some nudie, some booty magazines? Nigga said, "Ma, I'll be all right." And tapped his chest and went back. That's how you know you about to be doing some hard time, man. When you pound on your chest like a gorilla, he probably went back there and whooped somebody's ass. Snatched the nigga off the phone and beat the shit out of him with the phone. Cause he know he about to be in there for a minute. He gonna have to hold it down. Oh my God, man, they playing these games. And this is another thing that had me tripping. The theatrics in the courtroom. They said it was lightning, thunder striking. He had to know that it was his time to pay. But they trying to make him pay for some hoes. Y'all gotta bear with me for a second, cause I gotta see this real quick. I don't understand, and I ain't gonna be talking about this for hours enough, but I don't understand how the Biggie situation is an unsolved mystery. And it been like, would have been 30 years, and they still ain't figured this shit out. Tupac is still unsolved, but they could figure out if Cassie's panties was gummy or not. They figured out if Cassie wanted them BBCs or not, and she come to find out she did, and she admitted that she enjoyed. They got her in text messages talking about, "I love freaking off." They got the other woman talking about she was forced into freak offs, but he's still paying her bills. It ain't that he used to pay her bills. He's still paying her fucking bills. Of course she's willing to freak off. But this is still unsolved. So maybe, if he do go to jail, and that's what it's looking like, he got some bad karma for sure. Because he got away with a whole lot of shit, according to a lot of people out there. He probably had nothing to do with Biggie's murder. The entertainment industry is grimy. It could have been all Suge Knight that had something to do with Biggie's murder. It could have been the West Coast that had something. Of course it was the West Coast, but Diddy probably ain't had nothing to do with it like that. But people like to point the finger at him. People like to blame the devil, so to speak. And in the hip hop world, he is definitely the devil. And let me show y'all something real quick. It's only gonna take a second. Look. If Diddy did kill Biggie, Biggie was willing to die. He was willing to be sacrificed. The name of his album was Ready to Die. Same thing with Cassie, man. If he pimped her out, she was willing to be pimped out. She was willing to do them hotel nights. She was willing to do all that shit. So Biggie got killed, but he was ready to die. And before he died, look, he was already living his life after death before he died. They got him on pictures outside of his own hearse. Pictures in the cemetery standing in front of his own damn tombstone. So if you willing to do something for Diddy, he gonna give you the bag and everything. But when it goes down, don't be complaining. Because he already let you know what the fuck is happening, man. But that's Negro here, no there. Okay, let's get back into this real quick.
Proven or not proven their case. Now you see some overlaps here, right? Because you've got a RICO charge, you've got 2 sex trafficking charges, and 2 prostitution-related charges. And so if the jurors have made a decision with respect to any of those predicate crimes that were already listed, then they might very well have known what they wanted to do in the other charges as well. But make no mistake about it, the most complex case, Elizabeth, has been the RICO charge. It required them to prove that there was an enterprise of people around him that engaged in these type of crimes within a 10-year period and established a pattern.
Well, and Elizabeth, you obviously updated us on that reporting that both Shawn Diddy Combs' defense team as well as prosecutors want the judge to tell the jury, go back, try again, figure this out. Do you have an understanding about why it is that the Combs side in particular would really want that to happen?
You know, we don't know, but I would imagine
Wait. How many of y'all at y'all job, your supervisor asked you to do something that's unsupervised, and you had to do it for the sake of the job? People in fast food, you had to cook that beef, even though it was rotten, or it had an expiration date on it. It wasn't no more meat in the freezer. That's all y'all had. You had to pick the mold out the potato salad and serve it. How many people in the nursing field had to do some shit that you not supposed to be doing, but y'all ran out of supplies? You got to plug a nigga with some toilet paper because y'all ain't got no real bandages or whatever the case. They telling you to do something that you ain't really supposed to be doing, but desperate times call. When you a boss and you running a business, it may not always be by the book. You might have to bend a few corners every now. If everybody was held accountable for things that they do in the workplace, and a lot of people know if shit go left and they find out what happened, I'm going to take the hit. I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to get fired if I do what you asking me to do. But a lot of times people will go ahead and do it anyway because they trying to keep their job. So with this whole situation here, we know that these people did some malpractice. We know that these people did some illegal shit, but they all getting immunity just to snitch on the man with the bat. That ain't right. Guilty is guilty. You can't bend the law to favor everybody else except for one man. That's bullying. They picking on this man. If they wrong, they wrong. If you out selling dope with your friends, y'all all need to be held accountable for that. So yeah, they playing some serious games with this. But
could be thinking, and I would want to hear Laura's thoughts here as a former prosecutor. A school of thought is typically that the quicker that a verdict is reached, that the better it could be for the defense. So perhaps that they think that things are going their way. They want them to keep going. But I actually want to go back to the question that you asked Laura before this about which charge is the most serious. And as Laura spelled out, it is absolutely that first charge of racketeering conspiracy because it holds a maximum sentence of life in prison. But these other charges are still incredibly serious. Yes. Counts 2 and counts 3, which are sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura and sex trafficking of the woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane. Those are 2 separate counts. The judge instructed the jury to deliberate separately on them. They
make it seem like he told Cassie to go sleep with that man and bring me back his money. I need you to sleep with this one, that one, and that one, and make sure you get that bag and bring it back to daddy. They talking like he put Cassie on the host roll and said, Cassie, I need you to make me $2,000 tonight. Like they got proof of him putting her on the track. They got proof that she was the one setting up the events. They got proof that he ain't work when he got a Tootsie Roll. He handicapped. That's like asking somebody, that's like doing DoorDash or something because you ain't got no fucking car. Like what you want somebody to do? He can't walk. You want him to walk to the store, he got bad legs. He'll send the band to go get a cheesecake before he go get it. It's the same situation. He ain't got no meat. If he could please Cassie or any of them women he was dealing with, he would have did it, but he can't. Because he ain't got it. They got to sympathize with this man. If he was packing like that, and he was just hung like the jury, he wouldn't have to do none of this stuff that he was doing. They got to have sympathy for him. Because what you don't have, but you can afford, then that's how it play out a lot of times, man. She was involved with a millionaire that couldn't please her sexually. So he hired somebody to do the job for him. Should he get life in jail for that? For you fellas out there that ain't working with shit, but you got money and you can figure out how to please your girl, why wouldn't you do it? And I ain't saying he right. You know, I don't agree with Diddy. I feel like whatever happens, happens. But the case is so crazy to where when the verdict finally do come out, people going to be mad regardless of how it go. But like I said, and the reason why I made this video, why I titled the video the way I titled the video, is the way he interacted with his family. Let you know that it's doomsday and it's going to be hard for him to get out of this situation. Okay, where we at?
Each of those carries a minimum sentence of 15 years. So these are all incredibly serious charges here. The final two, counts 4 and 5, transportation to engage in prostitution, each carry a maximum of 10 years.
And the idea of the defense wanting to possibly have this is about finality. You know, listen, they know that there is double jeopardy that could attach the second, essentially, this trial began. But they also want to, meaning it could not be tried twice for the same matter. And yet they still want finality. They want unanimity and they want finality. They do not want to figure out whether the prosecution, if it is a hung jury, wants to go back and try to retry this case. Can you imagine? 34 witnesses, 7 weeks, overwhelmingly focused on the charge of RICO. If it's a hung jury, that is the option of the prosecution to go back and try the case again without a double jury being implicated, double jeopardy being implicated, excuse me.
All right, let's reset for a second. We're also joined now by Ellie Honig, our legal analyst here, and of course, Laura and Elizabeth are going to stick with us through now our continuing breaking coverage, because the jury in the Shawn Diddy Combs trial has reached a verdict on some counts. The jury just sending a note saying that they reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, but that they are unable to reach a verdict on count 1, racketeering conspiracy. We do know that both sides want the judge to push the jury to...
Man, this shit rigged like the NBA Finals, man. It's rigged like the Super Bowl. Shit rigged. They could figure it all out except for the biggest one. It got people anticipating, biting their nails and shit for the entertainment. They ain't come this far just for it to play out quickly. They want to squeeze every nickel, every dime, man. They getting all they ducks. They trying to get their last check before they move on to the next whatever it is, man. Hey, I need y'all to take some time and think about this with me. Look at this, y'all. All these news publications getting paid. You got People Magazine getting dough, New York Post, the Economic Times, U.S. Today, New York Times, looking Fox News. This is money. They raking it in. The longer this lasts, the more they get paid. It really ain't another dollar to be made. Diddy got his own currency right now. I'm working the Diddy dollar. This is like the modern day Bitcoin right now. Everybody working that Diddy dollar. So this is the game that's being played. People eating, paying bills off to this shit. I'm trying to tell you. It's big business. It's better than any album. It's generated more revenue than any pair of sneakers or shoes he ever put out. Way better than that Shawn John cologne. He ain't never been a product like this put out there. This shit like crack in the 80s. This is big money right here. They ain't about to let him either way. It's game 7 in the NBA Finals, y'all. Shawn Diddy Combs trial. Judge asks for more deliberation after jury reaches partial verdict. Like, look, we need more time. We got to cook this shit a little longer, man. They trying to serve it up and bounce. They treating this shit like a food truck. You got to wait it out until them people get off work. Serve that last bit of chicken and them hot dogs and pack it up and on to the next one. Jury reaches verdict on 4 of 5 counts in Diddy trial. But they told us Monday morning. Matter of fact, they said Friday. Remember that shit? They said last Friday they was going to figure it out before the weekend. And then it was like, well, they wasn't able to figure it out. So on Monday morning, y'all, that's going to be it. Tune back in. Monday morning, it's going to be it. That's going to be a wrap. Monday morning hit. They on some bullshit. They lost one of the jury members or some old boy. They still deliberating it. Tuesday is the day. Tomorrow, we'll know if he going to jail or whatever the case is. Tuesday hit. They got 4 or 5 counts. When is the 4th? Let me look this up real quick. I know I should already know. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for me. Pretty please. Let me see. Yeah, when that shit is. Okay, what's going on the 4th, man? Because they making a big deal out of all of this stuff. So, okay, what day it lands? Somebody help me. What day do it land on? Today is the 1st, Tuesday. Wednesday is the 2nd, right? And then, so it's on a Friday. The 4th, they trying to squeeze this shit to the 4th of July so they can go out with a bang, literally. They timed it for Cassie to have her baby. They timed it around this time because they knew they was trying to get this on before what quarter is this? You know what I'm saying? They trying to get this shit set up right. Big business, big politics. But this the crazy part, y'all. This is what I'm worried about. I'm worried that after the trial is over, some shit gonna go down. And people not gonna be prepared because people was worried about this shit. That's why on one of my videos, I advised everybody, go out there and get water, stock up on ramen noodles. If you got kids, get diapers, cause they playing games. We don't know what's around the corner, but they timing it. So when the shit hit the fan, it's going to be all in your mouth. And you're going to have Diddy on your brain. And it's going to be too late to try to figure out some real shit. You know, look at this.
To continue deliberating, Mark Agnifilo, the defense counsel, said that they want the judge to bring out the jury and to instruct them on deliberating, and both parties are going to work on the wording of that instruction.
Man, the jury is retarded. They shouldn't have to do all that. It ain't rocket scientists. They bought tennis rackets in there trying to figure out what racketeering was. The judge walked in the deliberation room. Them niggas in there playing ping pong, trying to figure out what the hell they gonna do with the racketeering. Here's what the prosecution has to prove as Combs faces a racketeering conspiracy charge. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The judge today asked jurors to continue deliberating after they said they were unable to reach a verdict on count 1, which is racketeering. How convenient. The biggest charge he got, they can't figure it out. How y'all can't figure it out? And y'all got all the information. Y'all sat there for weeks. Was he pimping hoes or no? What is there to decide? Did he make $1 off of Cassie's funky ass? No. Did he sell somebody some dope? They talking about people going to pick up drugs for his personal use. They ain't never move a brick. Who to connect? Who to plug? Who the street soldiers? Where his street team at? What album did they reference moving some dope? Which Black Rob verse said something about Diddy moving keys overseas? They ain't got none of that. They got people talking about, can you go pick up a couple of Xannies for Diddy? You think you can stop by and get a little stuff or puff? You know, he needs some uppers because he's feeling downer. That ain't gonna be enough. What? They playing games. If you go to jail, it's gonna be some YNs out there acting the fuck up, man. They looking for a reason to run up in that Macy's and them Foot Lockers and shit. These young boys, they looking for a reason to go up in there and get them some car keys and some cigarette lighters. So they can keep on playing if they want to. It's going to be some broke-ass people acting the ass because Diddy in jail. They're going to come up in the corner store. It's going to be Dorito chips everywhere. They're going to jump over the counter, snatch all them cigarettes with a free Diddy t-shirt on. Simply put, racketeering means engaging in an illegal scheme. It's used in the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, known as RICO, to describe 35 offenses including kidnapping, murder, bribery, arson, and extortion. Cassie grown, so he ain't kidnap her ass. We all seen her in public. This bitch was not in a basement somewhere. They make it seem like Cassie went missing for 3 years or something like that. She was at all the red carpet events, BET. She was doing shows and shit. Ain't nobody dead. You can't bribe somebody with a free call, especially if they don't already did it. Now, if it's a one-time situation, you bribe somebody to do some shit, then, you know, and they do it, and y'all don't come to find out you bribe somebody, you bribe the police or some shit, and they take the money. You can't bribe somebody with some shit that they frequently do. She was doing this shit. She said it was her job. That ain't bribery. Arson. Kid Cudi said he was at his girlfriend's sister's house when his car caught on fire, and he wanted to blame it on Diddy. What the fuck you doing at your girlfriend's sister's house right around the corner? What they had going on? I'm pretty sure it was his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend or somebody. He had a lot of shit going on. You messing with Cassie while she with Diddy. You're messing with your ex-girlfriend's sister. I'm pretty sure Kid Cudi got a lot of messy shit going on in his life. Extortion. If anything, Diddy need to be worried about being extorted. All them dudes on the West Coast would love to extort his ass. Big U, fucking Whack 100. If anybody getting extorted, it's Diddy's ass. As soon as he touched down in LA for what he did to Pac, for him to even walk free in LA, to go places in LA, his ass is getting extorted. He is not an extortionist. What they talking about, man? Attorney G. Robert Blakely, who has helped draft racketeering laws in at least 22 states, told CNN that racketeering is not a single criminal act. Prosecutors must prove a pattern involving at least 2 instances of racketeering activity to convict someone under the law. A nigga that'll give you $20 million after you file a lawsuit, he's the nicest guy I've ever heard. He's the most generous motherfucker in human history, man. You ain't never heard nobody give somebody $20 million for any damn thing, even if they is guilty. He called himself Brother Love. Cassie said she wanted to sue. Like, no problem, Cass. I got you. 20 million. You deserve it. You was with me through the dark times. I'm sorry. I never meant to do them things to you, Cassie. You happily married. You got a family. I'm so happy for you, Cassie. Love. He on that pink cocaine, man. He ain't doing no regular coke. That shit pink. He get it from Saucy Santana, allegedly. Young Mike, they bringing it in from Miami. Pink cocaine. He's the friendliest guy, the sweetest cream puff ever. They call him Puffy, for crying out loud, man. He is not none of this stuff that they claim he is. And on top of that, all he did was watch them have sex. They ain't got him on tape beating it out. He ain't on there pumping and sweating and thugging and smacking cheeks, talking shit, growling and drooling. Ain't none of that. He ain't freaking a damn thing except for his hand. If they put, man, if he go to jail for this, it's going to be a lot of hurt feelings out here, man. A whole lot of hurt feelings.
Time frame. Do you consider the jury deliberating throughout the day tomorrow and possibly coming back Thursday? I know it's anyone's guess, but if you're thinking about a jury mindset, do they want to get out of there?
Jury mindset, coming on a holiday, these people want to go home. They want to barbecue some chicken, not think about this case. They've been in this case for weeks.
No, this nigga ain't say nothing about barbecuing some chicken on the news. Get him the fuck out of here. Bad enough he looked like Tyler Perry. And he in front of them white people talking about they want to go home and barbecue some chicken, make some collard greens. He ain't lying. But still, it's a time and place for everything. Look at this, y'all.
In the Shawn Diddy Combs federal sex trafficking trial. We're going to go live to CB Cotton outside the courthouse with more. And CB, you've been there from the beginning. And for those people who haven't been watching, could you characterize what the trial has been about and what we are about to get from the verdict?
Hey, Dana, great to be with you. So this is another explosive moment in the courtroom during this 2-month-long trial. Jurors announcing this afternoon that they were unable to reach a unanimous decision on count 1, the most serious charge in this case, racketeering conspiracy. Jurors sent back a note just before 4:30 local time this afternoon to let the court know that they had reached a verdict on counts 2 through 5, but could not reach a unanimous decision on count 1. Again, the most serious charge in this case. Right now, the judge is talking with both sides about what to do next. He has told the courtroom he does not want to give a partial verdict. So now he's weighing 2 other options, which would be sending the jury back to continue deliberations or giving some version of an Allen charge, which would be, which in most cases would be instructing the jurors to go back and continue deliberations.
Man, it's not going to get done tomorrow. It's going to get done on Thursday. You're going to wait right before the 4th. I guarantee it. Because they already acting like they don't know what the hell to do. You know, they got to figure this out. So tomorrow it's going to be a whole bunch of deliberations and shit. So Thursday is when we're going to find out what's really going on here.
On the count that they can't reach a consensus on. So right now we're waiting to learn more from inside the courtroom. But I can tell you when this note was sent back today, it's the 6th note between the 2 days of deliberations. Defense attorneys were very quickly huddled around Shawn Diddy Combs inside the courtroom. And we saw that one defense attorney hugged another. And this is really a key moment in this trial. For over the course of 2 months, prosecutors have argued to jurors that Diddy, with an inner circle, created a sex crime ring to force and coerce women into drug-fueled sex parties called freak-offs with male escorts while he watched. They called a variety of witnesses, 34 to be exact, including Diddy's ex-girlfriends and accusers, former employees, and law enforcement investigators. And prosecutors say their testimony, along with bank, flight, hotel records, salacious text and videos, all prove Diddy is guilty of these charges. The defense, of course, takes a much different stance. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo, in his closing argument, told jurors this is an exaggerated case, and he repeatedly called it a false trial. He insisted that all the sexual encounters were consensual, and he painted these accusers as women who have agency. In fact, he said about ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, he described her as a woman who likes to have sex, and he said good for her. So you just right there, it paints the difference, the stark difference between the arguments in this case. And right now, the latest that we're learning from inside the courtroom is that jurors are unable to reach a verdict on count one, racketeering conspiracy, the most serious charge. If Diddy were to be found guilty on that charge, he could spend the rest of his natural life behind bars. I'd say the next most serious charge in this case is sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion.
Man, if they told us, if they found him guilty on any of the other charges, they gonna pop the cherry and people gonna go on about their business. Like, oh, he going to jail. It don't matter how much time they give him if he going to jail. All people want to know is if he going to jail or not. Because either way, they got to figure out how much time they gonna give him. But they want people to hold on. They don't want you to bust that load yet. They want to keep the stroke going. They the ones that's freaking off the damn public, man. They the ones that's screwing us over. That's what's really had the public is being screwed with all this shit. Because it's other stuff. It's people that need to be getting their GEDs. People need to be enrolling into some shit. Taking care of financial business, getting payment plans and stuff set up. You got people out there literally saying they're going to start something after the Diddy trial. Like, yeah, man, get my teeth fixed. Soon after that Diddy trial, I'm going to go down and get my teeth fixed, man. It's people waiting. Like, I think I'm going to get an abortion I'm going to wait till the Diddy trial because Lord knows I've been freaking off. If he don't go to jail, I'm just going to keep the baby because I ain't trying to go to jail for what I was doing. People waiting for this shit, man. It's a motherfucker right now jumping up and down, holding his front and his back, waiting to use the bathroom to the end of the damn Diddy trial. You got people fasting, talking about they Buddhists, they ain't going to eat. They trying to lose weight. Like, I'm gonna order me a 20-piece as soon as they finish with the Diddy trial. For now, I'm water fasting. They wasting people time with this stuff, y'all.
Now, we don't know how jurors have decided on those charges of sex trafficking, but if he were to be found guilty on those charges, the next most serious, he could spend up to 15 years in prison, up to life in prison. So 15 years to life in prison. And then the last charge is transportation to engage in prostitution. We also know jurors reached a unanimous consensus on that charge. We have seen a lot of action here outside the courtroom, a lot of activity. Supporters of Diddy, others who want to see him behind bars for the rest of their life. They're all gathering here.
How they gonna do that, y'all? Transportation to engage in prostitution. You know that show, what is it? How to Catch a Pedo or How to Catch a Predator? They had a dude come to the hotel room with the candy and shit. And as soon as they open the door, the SWAT team jump out. So they wait for an escort to come to the hotel room with a trench coat on and nothing underneath. And when they tap on the door, that's when the feds come running out and put them in cuffs. But they wait till you get off the plane, the Greyhound or whatever the case is. They got your plane ticket proof that you coming in the free. How that's gonna work, man? They gonna be waiting at the hotel's gonna go out of business, especially the motels. they gonna have to shut their doors. Greyhound gonna go out of business. The airport. They want people to travel. It shouldn't matter what the fuck you traveling for. You grown. They grown. It's dudes out here, they calling themselves the passport bros. They going straight over to the DR, and as soon as they touch down, they going to a brothel or whatever the case is. So they gonna get locked up as soon as they get to the DR. They hit your ass with a pig head, knock you clean out in the DR, and drag you to one of their jails. People going to Brazil, all over the world. You got people going to the Asian countries, business or pleasure. I ain't saying this right. I ain't never did nothing like that. But I know grown people gonna do what they want to do because it's your right. If he go to jail, it's taking people rights away. And they really need to define this law, because I swear on IG, it's plenty of bad chicks posting pictures in hotel rooms. Shit, all of them got pictures in hotel rooms. You look in the back while they standing with they booty tooted to the side. You look around in them pictures, they in a hotel suite. And then you be like, well, who the hell taking a picture? 9 times out of 10, they trick. Or whoever the man that paid for the hotel taking a picture for his own personal use. And she asked him to send me that picture. That's how that go. She ain't gonna be like, ooh, take a picture of me in the hotel. He trying to have a memory for the ass he about to tap and send her a picture at her request. But who knows? It ain't nobody business. But they making it everybody's business. What Diddy had going on ain't nobody business. Because he a grown-ass man. Not only is he paying his own bills, he paying everybody else's bills. But that's Negro here, no there, man. Okay, let's get back into this. And let me know in the comment section if y'all agree with anything that I'm saying. And if you disagree, let me know why you disagree. I'm talking about in the comment section below. Pretty please, let me know.
Here outside the courtroom right now, waiting to find out what the judge decides to do next. Dana, I'll send it back over to you.
All right, CB Cotton, just stand by there. We have Harold Ford Jr., Rosanna Scotto, Joey Jones, Greg Gutfeld, and myself, Dana Perino. So Harold Ford Jr., it's great to have you around the table. So we have breaking news. So we're going to wait to find out what is happening here. What is your take on the fact that they said no on count 1, racketeering?
I have not, admittedly, not followed the case very closely. I've seen read some of the headlines. I'm going to be as interested as anyone to see what this judge does. I mean, I read it where the first count was the most important. CB certainly reinforced that. So we'll see what the judge does.
Okay, Rosanna.
So the prosecution called dozens of witnesses. The defense, when it came to their turn, called no one. In the summation, Diddy's defense called this a modern love story between Diddy and Cassie. And anybody who saw the footage of Cassie getting beaten up in the hallway, I'm sorry, if that's a modern love story, I don't want to be a part of it. But a hung jury, possibly on the RICO count, which carries the biggest sentence so far. That would be life in prison. The sex trafficking and prostitution, I think, carries maybe 10 to 15 years if he's convicted on those counts. We will see how that works out. But, I mean, his family is there in the courtroom right now. Diddy has been calm, cool, and collected. At one point, you know, he was signaling to the jury, making eye contact. The judge at one point told him to stop. But for the most part, Diddy sat there with his lawyers, made notes. And like I mentioned, not one single witness did they call, which said a lot. I guess they felt the prosecution did not prove their case. A lot of people said from the very beginning, the RICO count was going to be very difficult to prove.
I think that's always the case, right?
And, you know, RICO, especially in this kind of case. And I think the jury is wrestling with that right now. And we've seen partial verdicts.
Yeah, man, wait. So he could still go to jail for 15, 20 years and shit based off of them other charges, even if they don't do the RICO. If he guilty excuse me, if he guilty of any of them other things, and he 55 years old, that's basically life in jail. Look, look, look.
Welcome back, folks. We are continuing our breaking news coverage in the Shawn Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. The jury has reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 charges against Combs. Now, those are counts 2 through 5 that include sex trafficking and transportation with intent to commit prostitution. But they are hung on count 1, the more serious charge of racketeering conspiracy. Let's bring back in Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft, who again is outside that courthouse in Manhattan with the latest. Kelly.
Well, hi there, Michael. Just some further updates for you here in Lower Manhattan. The judge has brought the jury back into the courtroom, so the jury has made their way back into the courtroom, and the judge is going to be instructing them that he has received their note, and he's going to be asking them to continue their deliberations. And then he is going to be telling them, if you are done for the day, when you go back there, just send out another note to let us know that you're done for the day and that you would like to come back tomorrow. So interesting developments here, to say the least. We'll have to see if the jury does decide to then come back tomorrow, Michael, or if they are going to continue to deliberate throughout the night. Of course, they reached a partial verdict on counts 2 through 5. They have not reached a verdict on count 1. That's conspiracy. That's racketeering conspiracy. And Michael, earlier when we were talking, I was trying to go through my notes when you were mentioning that they only had to find 1 instance of sex trafficking, for instance, or 1 instance of transportation with intent to commit prostitution. During the rebuttal close from federal prosecutors, they made that extremely clear. Comey made that very clear in her rebuttal close. And one of the instances that she mentioned, she was talking about, and I'm not going to read it in too much detail because it's very graphic, but it related to Jane. And it was talking about Jane not wanting to perform a sex act on one of the male escorts. And then he said to her, and this is how Comey read it in her rebuttal close, you go back there and you blank some blank. And so if people were following some of the testimony, they know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's talking about a woman doing something to a man. She was saying to him, per the testimony, she did not want to do that. And then Shawn Diddy Combs, according to the federal prosecutors and according to the testimony, they hammered on this in that rebuttal close. Go back and do blank, do blank.
Life in jail. Because he told her to go suck some meat. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. Like, bitch, I paid your bills out there. You better go on there and suck some. He dirty macking. That's for damn sure. You don't tell no chick to go in there and S some D. That's where he fucked up. But she was a problem, though. And he knew she was a problem, but that was his crack pipe. He was addicted to her sex, man. He let that be known. Maybe he had a mental issue, man. If you addicted to somebody's sex and they ain't doing it for you, they ain't doing what you want them to do, and you addicted, shit, he was fiending for her to do what he asked her to do. That's what he paid her to do. He tired of people taking his money and not wanting to do their job. Like he told her, you better get on your job. I bet y'all done already paid you. That's like you waiting at a restaurant and you just sitting in the lobby and they serving everybody else their food. You like, damn, I could have swore I ordered my shit before they food. You asked the waitress, we been sitting here, this couple done came and went, and we still sitting here waiting for our food. What's going on? Like, we forgot your order. Oh, well, bitch, you better get on your job. Because we came here just like everybody. If you a hoe, don't pick and choose when you want to be a hoe. If you a prostitute or a sex worker, whatever the case is, you can't show up to work with an attitude if that's what you do. He told her to get on her job. I ain't saying it was right, but it's not like she's some model citizen or some chick he snatched up off of the street or he trafficked her into this shit. That's what she already got a baby with a rapper. And 50 Cent speaking out on the situation too. So as far as him getting life in jail for treating whores like whores, it ain't right. I disagree with it. If they give him life for that, I'll be fine with it. But they do gotta use logic. Well, they don't have to, but they should use logic in a situation like this. The name of his company is not Good Guy Records. If he got some edge to him, he ain't just get that way. And he ain't the only one with it. He a New Yorker, for crying out loud. They know what time it is. A New Yorker will grab their meat and tell you to suck this. So him telling her what he told her, that shit ain't uncommon behavior. That's what come along with, if you a New Yorker, you heard somebody say it, or somebody said it to you, or you said it to somebody. People in New York say that shit as a sign of admiration. Like, hey, man, you bought me a slice of pizza. Oh, no, hey, man, suck my dick, man. Suck my dick. Buying people pizzas, you soft Twinkie ass. They'll congratulate you on... So you graduated from college, huh? Man, suck my dick, school kid. That's just what New Yorkers do. I ain't making excuses for Diddy, I promise. I ain't making excuses for him. But she going overboard with this madness.
She did not want to do that. And then Shawn Diddy Combs, according to the federal prosecutors and according to the testimony, they hammered on this and that rebuttal closed. Go back and do blank, do blank. She then said, Comey said, that is sex trafficking. So, read into that what you want.
Get the fuck out of here, man. She can't be serious with this bullshit. Because he told her to go back in there and suck some. He trafficked it to He trafficked to her ass. At that moment, as soon as them words left his mouth, that's when he trafficked to her, y'all. Look.
Testimony, they hammered on this and that rebuttal closed. Go back and do blank, do blank. She then said, Comey said, that is sex trafficking. So, read into that what you want, but that's something that she left the jurors with, Michael, when she was delivering her closing.
Yeah, I think that's something that prosecutors did extremely well, sort of breaking down and simplifying some of the charges in this case, which can be a bit complicated. Kelly, we're also getting word now that the jurors have left the courtroom to go back and continue to deliberate. The judge said, though, he will remain on the bench just in case he gets a note or a note comes out from that jury. So as of right now, they've gone back to continue to deliberate on that particular point, on that racketeering charge. And one point I want to make clear. Let me go back to.
What's the point in being a judge when it all boils down to it? You sitting there twiddling your fingers, waiting on what the jury gonna do. You the one that studied law. Them people ain't never studied law a day in their life. You got a carpenter in there, a fast food worker. You got a chick that bag groceries. The scientists, they kicked him off of the damn jury. You got people that have no clue. They ain't go to law school. They ain't even go to school. And he's sitting there with his feet up, waiting to get a note to pass them another note. They passing notes and shit. They wasting time. That's all they doing. And I feel like something crazy is about to hit the fan. What this man got going on? Senate passes Trump's agenda bill after marathon voting session. Can President Trump deport Elon Musk? What we know about Tesla? They about to deport Elon. Now get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants electric cars. I like gas. I like the way the goddamn gas smells. I don't trust your robots. What are they saying? Senate approves landmark one big beautiful bill. What is this big beautiful bill they talking about, man? At least 17 Americans would lose insurance under Trump's plan. What kind of insurance they talking about? Senate votes to allow state AI laws to blow tech companies. They're going to do what? Shit, they're going to tell them to go suck them robots' dick. Like, you better get in there and suck them robots to blow tech companies. Studies 14 million lives could be lost due to Trump's aid, because god damn, 14 million where? In Africa? That look like an African. Oh my God. Why they gonna do them like that? Like, return to the States. Oh my God, return to the States. Here I am. Trump, you lied to me. You said that we would get some free food. You lied to me. But you do. Return to the States. Here I am. Trump's administration is formally shutting down. Dude, I know this ain't funny, but what? 14? How they gonna do that? Arguments clashes Monday medical journal. The study at U.S. aid programs have saved over 90 million. Shit, like no more free snacks. Hey, give me my noodles. Give me my noodles, nigga. Nigga, give me my noodles. Like, no more noodles, no more ham sandwiches, no more raviolis, no more granola bars, or you were cutting the budget. If you ain't American, we ain't feeding your ass. Like, we have starving Americans who are sending food to other countries. We have people on Skid Row. That shit ain't funny. But damn. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. When this Diddy trial is over, people gonna be having to deal with some shit, and y'all ain't gonna know what time it is, because they force feeding this black ass bastard. Look. Look, we gonna get back to Diddy. But what is this big, beautiful bill? Somebody let me know. Hit me up on IG and send me an article or something, because I don't know what the hell this is. Industry leaders and skate holders nationwide hailed the Senate vote and called on the House to swiftly send the bill to President Trump's desk. The airlines bill. We are grateful that the Senate understands the urgent need to overhaul our nation's air traffic control. See, that's what got something to do with that sex trafficking shit. Like I was telling y'all, they about to get real strict at them airports. Business or pleasure. You show up to the airport with all that ass, you gonna get detained. Because they gonna want to know what you doing with all that. Ooh, nothing. You gonna have to explain. $12.5 billion in their reconciliation package for that cause. This is an important first step as Secretary Duffy works to implement President Trump's vision of a brand new state-of-the-art system. We especially appreciate Commerce Committee. Hey, no more passport bros. No more, it's over. American Airlines, it ain't gonna be no sex trafficking nowhere. They find them condoms in your luggage, shit, you gonna get detained. Business Roundtable CEO Josh Bolton sent a transportation policy director Jay. If you ain't American, if you weren't born and raised in this country, it's gonna be hard for you to move. You ain't just gonna be able to come over here and set up shop and tell a nigga like me what to do. I go to the gas station, you sitting there listening to that shit, sounding all terrible, and then want to throw my change back at me. And you just got here yesterday and you don't set up shop. I remember the black corner stores in the hood. I remember seeing Mr. Freddie at the register with them pickled pig feet and them big pickles and the penny candy and stuff. What happened to all that? Now you go in the grocery store, they watching Taliban TV. And they ain't gonna show you no respect. They'll fry that chicken so damn hard, you ain't gonna live long. They getting rid of all that shit. Small Business and Entrepreneurship Council, president and CEO, it's gonna be a lot of chicks making big, beautiful chicks baking cupcakes. It's one big, beautiful bill. Everyone in America will be able to get a bag. Steel Manufacturers Association, U.S. Chambers and all that shit. Y'all better button up and act right. Why y'all think I'm wearing the top hat? I'm getting ready for America. I wake up every morning and say, top of the morning, Bob. Because that's the only way you're going to make a living. Y'all better act right. Quit trying to be Diddy. And you'll be able to survive out here, man. Okay, what else is on here? Okay, what's that? I done Diddy y'all to death. What time is it? It is what it is. Yo, y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section, man. I got so much love for y'all. Make sure y'all do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button too. Leave a comment below and let me know what y'all think about all this, man. I got so much love for y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all on my next video.